Peace and blessings. Today is Kings Empowering Kings. Today is November the 7th, 2024. I got two brothers in the house with me. My brother Tyrone Jones with Hard Knocks Life Foundation for Life. It's Hard Knocks for Life Foundation. And also we have Pastor Corey Lee. Appreciate it, Mr. Corey. And we got some more brothers to be joining the conversation a little bit. Y'all feel free, if y'all want to call in, or if you want to chime into the conversation, please make sure y'all in. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself. Myself is V.A. Fonz, the Raw Truth. I'm Robert Weiss from Freeman, Virginia. The next person up, how about Tyrone?
Yes, sir. How you doing today? Yeah. My name is Tyrone Jones, Hard Knock for Life, CEO, President. I'd just like to thank everybody for being here today.
Give thanks. And Corey?
Hey man, my name is Corey Lee. I'm the pastor of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church in Skippers, Virginia. I'm a native of Emporia, Virginia, Windsor County High School, graduate in '96. And just here to try to help my community grow.
Respect. Well, today we have an agenda. The goal is to kind of create some solutions for our young men in the community. We have a few topics that we're going to chime in on. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to speak on each one of the topics. And once again, this is the first of many roundtable discussions. So make sure next month, any of the men or women from the community that would like to chime in or join the conversation, make sure you chime in with us. And once again, the goal of this project is to create solutions and workshops to empower young men in the community. Create educational and training opportunities for the youth. The first topic that we're going to talk about is current barriers of the young men that's growing up today. We all were young men at one point in time in the history. And a lot of times men don't have the resources to actually do what they really want to do. The goal is for us to empower each other. So which one would y'all like to speak on it first? Current barriers of the young men in the community. The first one.
When we start?
Yeah. You can start, definitely.
Mr. Jones, I think with these young men in the community, we got too many boys around here masquerading as men. You know what I mean? Fathers are doing the right thing. These young men out here, trying to navigate their own way through life, you know what I mean? Don't have idea what they're doing, you know what I mean? What are the reason is, you know what I mean? They're not responsible for what's going on with them, you know what I mean? This is, you know what I mean, the parents' issue. You know what I mean? The kids don't have what they have because the parents don't have what they have to get to the kids. So, this is our main topic right now when we looking at right now where we at in society with our kids and stuff like this. Nobody kids out here but ours. So, we gotta find a way, a solution, you know what I mean, to empower our community and better our kids all the way around.
Word, give thanks, Tyrone.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Brother Tyrone. And I would say it's listed under here, family structure. And a lot of our problems start at home. Just like the brother said, if the parents are not educated and the parents are not, I'm not talking about just education for our schooling, but I'm talking about education about history, education about life, spiritual things. You see, I'm a pastor, so I relate to going back, when we had to go to church. Now the parents, the children telling the parents what to do. We wasn't asked to was we going. That did give us structure. I mean, I'm not. I know what I believe in, but I know religion in a household do give boundaries and structure, and that's one of the things where we dropped the ball. That the brother was talking about that age gap. Right. So a lot of times when we find that we're being our our child's friend instead of sitting them down and holding them accountable, instead of correcting them. You know, I know a lot of times we got into this day and time where you can't correct a child like my mama corrected me. You know,
Facts.
Because the people want to get involved, but there's a way that we can correct them. You know, we got all these. They got all these vices, the phone, the games. You take some of that stuff away from them, it hurt them worse than a whipping.
That's right.
So
That's right.
It have to be some order. You know, have to put some structure. That's what we're talking about. The barriers are there's no structure. It started. So we have to go back and find, you know, each child is different. Each household is different.
Right.
So we have to find exactly what this child is lacking, or what this child need, or what they don't need, what they need to not be around, and what they need to be around.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I agree. I think a lot of the kids right now, their household is their biggest disadvantage. Because if their parents don't have the knowledge, wisdom, or understanding how to do anything, they can't really encourage or show the kids what to do. And nowadays, with the technology being kind of advanced, the kids are the administrators of the house.
Yeah.
So if you need a password, what did mama do?
Yeah. Call the kid.
That's right. That's right. And the other thing I would say is one of the barriers I see is people using the technology. The kids are using the technology to their advantage, and the parent don't have a clue to what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
For example, we don't hear people speak about child pornography anymore. Very rarely you hear child pornography, but it's more rampant now than it was when we came up.
Yeah.
We had Playboy magazines. Now they have online and see everything.
Yeah.
So it's a little different, especially with growing up and you have access to see what you shouldn't be seeing anyway.
Yeah.
But I appreciate y'all. Like I said, this is a rough draft, but we're gonna push this thing on through because Emporia need our help.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. One thing too about not only the parents but people in the community being transparent. We can't paint a picture that we was always perfect. We ain't never done nothing.
Right.
We have to let these kids know what we have been through and what we have overcome.
Very true.
And sometimes they know they're dealing with generational curses that need to be broken. It's things that I can sit and look at my son and see stuff that's in him that he gets from me.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that our children are dealing with that comes from us.
That's right.
And if we want to be honest enough, and like me, I don't want to pass nothing that's not. I want to pass on the good stuff. I'm a king.
Yeah.
I want to create a king.
Facts.
I don't want to continue to, I want the buck stop here. The stuff that I'm wrestling with, I don't want to pass it on. And as parents, we should want to pass on our misfortune,
That's right.
our poverty. I don't want my son to have to slave in a factory because I chose not to do what I was supposed to do. I could have went to college, but I chose to do something else. But I don't want my son to have to go through that. He gets good grades, and I'm trying to show him that there's a better way. You don't have to slave through. You can work smart and not hard.
Very true.
Amen.
The next topic is the educational systems.
Speak on this education system. Excuse me. As far as in 2008, when this stuff really started to trigger, when Bush passed that law in 2008, No Child Left Behind. When he passed that law, to me, I think that was one of the racist laws that he ever passed. Basically, I feel like he was targeting the black kid. All they were saying was, whether their ass get it or not, send them on. So now we got our kids in our bed, instead of they're being passed on through 12 years of high school. Now they wonder why, when they get out of high school, why they working anywhere? Who gonna hire anybody who can't read and write and comprehend? And if they do hire you, they hire you as a helper so they can give you anything because you're not bringing nothing to the table. So as far as our educational system, teachers, educators, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
My thing is, I felt like, y'all feel like y'all had a job to do when Bush, asked you to pass that law and to do what he asked you to do. But I felt like you also had a servitude of a purpose to the kids, that you should have gave them your all. You know what I mean? These kids, you know what I mean, suffer from a lot of the teaching of the education of negligence, you know what I mean? But that's where it started at. Here it is, you know what I mean? If the child wasn't ready for first grade, and the hell he ready for second grade. So now here, you know, weighing this kid through school, now this kid, after 12 years of high school, he's 18, he out here in the world, he's set up for failure. And you blame every one of those teachers for each grade that set them on that didn't play that role. They took on this agenda as a job instead of a purpose. They had a love for a paycheck that they had for no child. So, you know, that's where it started at with me. I say it started in the education system because the first teacher, you know what I mean, starts at home with the parents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, maybe somebody got it difficult, but that's my fault.
I agree.
I agree with him 100%, and that's what it is. When we was in school, we had teachers that really cared. You know what I'm saying? They took their time. There wasn't no child left behind. If you didn't get it, you're gonna repeat.
Right.
You're gonna get it, and you're gonna stay until you get it. They took time, and some of them didn't want you to be left behind, so they took extra time with you.
Right.
And you know, if you had to come on the weekends or have tutoring after school, cut into your fun time, or take away your activities, your playing on football, playing sports. But now, like you said, they push the kids right on through. They push the kids right on through. They push them right on through, especially if they're good at sports.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said earlier, they looking at what they can get out of the kids. You know, they're looking at the money and everything they can get out of the kids. But now, not all the teachers. We have some teachers that's just like when we was in school. That, you know, like he said, it's not a job to them. It's a purpose. It's a God-given purpose, because some people would do it for free because they love taking care of our children and want to see our children win. Everybody's not in it for a check. I know a couple of teachers personally that take their time with the children, but I believe that our children have more distractions than we did when we was in school. I see now they can't take their, I know in the middle school, I don't know about the high school, they can't take their phones with them to class. We didn't even have phones to worry about to take the class. Right. It's a lot of distraction, other kids acting up, keeping other kids from learning. And like Brother Tyrone said, all of that starts at home. A lot of parents send their children to school expecting these people to take care of their children. And like he said, if these people don't care nothing about but getting a check, they're not going to take care of your child. See, our purpose as parents is we're supposed to prepare them to take them. By the time they get there, they already ought to know some stuff.
Right.
I'm talking about, they help them with like sort of certain things. We should have been educated our children about their history, about who they are. And I mean, not only that, with this discipline problems with back and forth fighting and stuff, I tell my son, if somebody called you, I said, what's your name? He said, Corey. I said, somebody called you ugly. What's your name? You don't answer to that. Right. See, this is the stuff we need to be training our kids so they won't be getting it. They know who they are. We need to let them know who they are and whose they are, so they can't get caught up in people calling some out their name that they're not. There's a lot of distractions. They're dealing with, I mean, I couldn't believe it, that they're dealing with drugs at the elementary school. Yeah. Kids dealing with drugs at the elementary school. See, that's a lot of distractions. They're coming into school smelling like drugs because the parent just put them off and they just finished smoking in there around their kids. You know, see, it's a lot of distractions that they got. And like you said, we have to take our time and want to see them prosper more than we want to see them fail.
I agree. I definitely agree. You know, to piggyback on what Tyrone was saying, we went to the school board, and the school board was speaking about the programs that are funded. From 3rd to 8th grade are fundable programs. From 9th through 12th, there's no funding. So the thing is, with these kids now, you come out of high school, you're supposed to learn everything you're supposed to learn by the 8th grade. So if you don't have, I think it was reading and math, that's what he said, right? Said reading and math, they would be willing to expend money on that. But entrepreneurial programs, trades, they don't even teach the kids how to use their hands anymore. So that's like That's kind of like the reason why we want to do a lot of these workshops. So then that way, now I felt bad one day. I was on the road. I seen this kid, tire blew out. He pulled to the side of the road, jumped like a car, fussing and cussing on the phone with his parents. Instead of being able to get out and say, okay, my tire broke, let me pop the trunk. But if they don't know, they don't know. So definitely, we got to educate them at home, and we got to get them what they can't get at home.
But piggybacking what you just said, we had a VOTEC. I know you from Brunswick.
Yeah.
In Greensville, I guess all the surrounding, we had auto mechanics, brick mason, plumbing, welding, drafting, electronics,
Yeah.
all these things. And actually the teachers were taking their vehicles to get service, and
And
we
the
were
school.
doing it. You know, they took away all of that. I'm gonna be honest, I believe in higher education, but college is not for everybody. There's a lot of people that go to college and get in debt. You starting your life and you coming out, you $200,000 already in debt. Instead of going to a trade school. When the last time y'all had to hire a plumber?
Right.
You know how much a plumber make, an electrician make?
Exactly.
Why are we not pushing this on our kids? Our ancestors, our forefathers, they built their own homes in this community because they own their own businesses. And you say entrepreneurship, that's a form of entrepreneurship, but I believe it's strategically done because they want us to work for them.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, to continue to work for them and not own our own.
Yeah.
Because when we was doing that, you can get your own business going, then you can hire somebody else to do it. Yeah.
And keep it going.
I don't know what they got at the high school now as far as vocation.
So they took it. I wonder how long it's been since they took that out of the school system, though.
I know that auto mechanics, all that been gone for a while.
So welding, no carpentry.
I don't know exactly what it is, but I
That's
know
wild.
it's a lot of it's gone. Yeah. And those are the things that you can get right out of high school. You can go get state board certified and get your license
Yeah.
and go straight to work.
Straight to work. And getting paid.
Yeah, good money.
All right, the next topic we're going to speak about is health and wellness. Health is wealth. Health and wellness. I guess I'll go first on the health and wellness. They tricked us on the health and wellness on everything. They tricked us. Most of the food that's on the food chart won't good for us. But working out, taking care of self, is everything. 1 hour a day, whether you're walking, running, or just being active, really helps. But food-wise, I don't know what to tell y'all to eat, because everything we got ain't good for us right now. Might have to go back to the farm again, y'all. What y'all think?
Yeah. Well, they say a food desert.
Right. Definitely a food desert. That's why we need our own grocery stores. We need to bring back mom and pop shops again, because even with a grocery store, you need one. Y'all know what Piggly Wiggly was before it became Piggly Wiggly?
Stop by.
Remember how you give a little coupon?
Yeah. I think health and wellness is a big part of it. You know, there's a lot of people. I'm overweight. You know, I try my best to shout out the Strong Temple gene. I go out there, try my best to get it off, and the food. And sometimes, like you said, when it's you on a run, you're gonna try to grab the quickest thing. The quickest thing ain't the healthiest thing.
Right.
But looking at Port, we got so many fast food, and I'm gonna be honest. I tell my son this: when I was growing up, to go to McDonald's was something big to me and my brother. We didn't go to McDonald's all the time. Now you got kids eating McDonald's every day.
Every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
You know, my mom cooked for us. You know, because she grew up on a farm. So when you're talking about the farm, growing our own produce, we don't know what's in half the stuff we eat.
Right.
But we ain't got no other choice. We got to survive. We got to eat. But we got to take the time to be strategic with how we plan our meals and all that stuff.
Right.
See, we really got to know what's going on right there today, especially our kids and stuff like this. We don't know what's going on with it. We don't know why we sick and why we stay sick and what's going on. Let me educate y'all on something right now about health and wellness and stuff like that. Do you remember one time it could be one individual, old man or woman to be in the neighborhood, may have cancer in the whole community will pray for them. Now you got cancer in every 1 to 3 households. Do you know why is that? We get the cancer is in the food and the water that we eat right now.
That's right.
Everything that we eat and drink right now is cancer. That's right. All the food. All the food is right now. Do you know the government pay farmers right now not to grow?
Right.
You know why? That's business, you know what I mean? Do you know why it costs so much to eat healthy? Organic.
That's business too.
You got to pay to play because they know everybody can't eat healthy.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So this is what they do. All the food that you eat right now is modified genetic. You know what I mean? It's nothing you eat now is whole. You can't even get 1% ground beef now. You might get ground beef with 1% in it, but all of it is not 1% ground beef. As far as the water, even the water down to the water we drink. Right now we got over 50 different types of water. How is water pure when you got 50 different varieties? So each variety got a different type of chemicals in it. Because each water got their own brand and you can't imitate the others, you know what I'm saying? So you copyright. So how in the hell is the water pure if you got chemicals in it? The water supposed to be 99.9% pure. Even the doctors, you read it right now, they say these young men out here age 20, 25, 26, can you keep a hard on unless they taking some type of enhancement? Because they don't know it's the water they drinking. They don't even understand that the food that they eat and the water they drinking is killing them slowly, you know what I mean? That is another sign of genocide, you know what I mean? That's right. Something like that, right? Because this problem that we have, you know what I mean, as far as our immune system like that, it will affect other different than it will affect us, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because our genetic is no like nothing else, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, you know, these are scientists, you know what I mean? This ain't nothing that, you know, that there was a study that went on yesterday or day before that. This stuff been going on for centuries, you know what I mean? You know, this was in the making, you know what I mean? They don't try everything else, you know what I mean, for our genocide, for all of our people. You don't got to listen to me. All you got to do is keep on eating and drinking the water you drink it, you know what I mean? And you'll see. But all jokes besides like that, you know what I mean? You need to sit back, you know what I mean, and stay tuned, you know what I mean? What we got for going on like that, you know what I mean? Every now and then we're gonna sit down here and give you a top on what's going on. We don't want to give you everything right now because if we do, then we ain't got nothing else to talk about. So you know, we'll be a little bit at a time.
That's right. Respect.
To piggyback on Brother Tyrone, growing up, everybody, the community, we said it takes a village, and it don't just take a village to raise a child. It takes a village for all of us, and you know, they grew what they ate.
That's right.
They raised their chickens and they raised the pig. We know the pig ain't all that good for us, but they raised pigs and cows and things like that.
You can't get big if you can't get big.
And but now today, like he spoke, he said cancer. But if you go back, very few people had cancer back then. It wasn't big as it is now.
That's right.
The major disease of our people back then was heart disease, and that's probably because of all that pig. But today, like you said, cancer is in the food, is in the water. But back then, like you said earlier, we might need to go back. There's no might in it. To raising our own food, our own produce, so we'll know what's in it. When they fed them chickens, they knew what them chickens was getting.
That's right.
When they fed them hogs, they knew what the hogs was getting because the hogs was eating the same thing they was eating.
That's right.
They were slopping the hogs, and they were growing their own vegetables and all these things. So the food was way more healthy. Like I said now. I forgot how long they take, but they said chicken, you know, take a long for them to produce a chicken there. They even produce a chicken with no feathers to make the process easier. So, you know, it got to be something wrong with that.
Yeah. Big chicken.
Hormones, close to the hormones, and that's why the females are growing faster because of the foods, the stuff that's in them.
That's right. Let me pick it back on what he said. See, with what they use right now, you know what I mean, FDA, they got this drug called estrogen. And they've been using it. Estrogen is a fertility drug, you know, usually used by women. But also they use these in the fields, you know what I mean, with the cows, called fertility drug. And what they do, they give them to the cows and stuff, what they start making outside cycle, you know what I mean? Because the cows have a cycle with time they mate. So with the fertility drug, what they do, they start making them outside their cycle. Also the same fertility drug they get to the cows, also get to the boars sometimes. So now you got this boar, you know what I mean, keep performing more than normal, you know what I'm saying? And this cow is producing more than normal. So now they got it called the mad cow disease, you know what I'm saying? So what the cows do is such a nervous system break down because now the cow is making outside the cycle, so the cow gets sick, you know what I'm saying? So the same meat, sometimes that they take, you know what I mean? They break it down. Once you shoot that drug into that fertility drug, that injection is inside the vein, inside that meat. Sometimes you can't get it out there. Sometimes. Then they wonder why you got these 9, 10-year-old young men with sideburns and beards, you know what I mean? And these young 10, 11-year-old young females coming on administration.
Yeah.
That is why, you know what I mean? It's that same fertility drug, but you don't know. Once that same drug that they shoot inside that meat, and once it go inside that heat, it reactivates sometimes. It performs all over again. So that same meat that you take home from the butcher, whatever, that same meat have those drugs still sitting in there, and we eat it all day, every day. Then we wonder why our kids coming out, they 1 year old, they looking like they 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what's going on right now with these kids in the fertility drug. And if you don't believe it, research it.
Respect, definitely. We're going to speak about, it's called love and relationships. Normally love and relationships leads to a baby. When that baby comes, it leads to other issues. So we will speak about love and relationships. And what I'm going to say early about this is, a lot of times when we're very young, we think we're in love and don't really know what it is. Love is actually very genuine, but love is very hard to find too. So I'm gonna let the fellas speak on this topic. And, love and relationships.
I'll start this thing. Love is the highest elevation of understanding. See, you can't substitute love for anything. See, love is genuine. See what I'm saying? Someone ain't got to ask you for love, you know what I mean? If love is in you, it's there sometimes. You can't imitate love, you know what I mean? You know, you just can't build love up in you, you know what I mean? It got to be instilled in you sometimes. Right. See, a lot of people do things, you know what I mean, for a pay. They look do things for the wrong thing. But some people just do it because it's in their heart, that's dope, you know what I mean? It's their purpose and stuff. So, you know, when I speak of love and stuff there, like family and stuff there, you know what I mean? You don't have to be blood to be family with me sometimes. Family with me is loyalty sometimes, you know what I mean? If you don't have loyalty, you don't have nothing sometimes. You know, your mouth will say anything, your actions don't lie. See, like me, my situation, like, I'm gonna speak about my situation. I was in a situation not long ago, you know what I mean, where it got to the point, you know what I mean, where it got domestic sometimes, you know what I mean? I played a role in there, you know what I mean, to a degree, you know what I mean? You know, one thing about me, you know, I always been a man in everything I did, you know what I mean? You know, I don't have to lie about nothing. If somebody said Ty did it, I did it, because ain't nobody gonna lie on me, you know what I mean? I might not have done it the way they said it, I done it, but it happened. So, you know, I speak about love, you know what I mean, and me dealing with individuals and people and stuff like that, you know, you got to understand me, and I'm talking for me only. You know, when I went to prison, you know what I mean, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life, you know what I mean. And before I went to prison, you know what I mean, you know, I didn't know what knowledge of self was. So, you know, once God had set me down, you know what I mean, for a moment, you know, he had to really, really, really talk to me, you know what I mean. And even in there, I was running, you know what I mean. So, you know, coming out here into the world, you know, I never, you know, actually lived on my own. And before I even had a chance of living on my own and starting my own life, you know, I came out here and created and went into a whole family environment. You know, something that was totally new to me. But, you know, as a man, I tried to do my best, what I had and what I was working with, you know what I mean? You know, me, personally, I came out here to this city right here. You know, I had no family, you know, I didn't come here looking for no loved ones or nothing. Came home, all I was looking for, you know, a way of life. So, but you know, I went into a situation, you know what I mean, that, you know, family that I love to death, you know what I mean, still love. You know, great family, stuff like that. But you know, sometimes you can say all the right things and do all the right thing for all the wrong people,
Very true.
And I had to learn that, see what I'm saying? You know, I don't love nobody more than I love myself, see what I'm saying? But, you know, I've done that for 55 years, you know what I mean? You know, I put everybody before me. See what I'm saying? But the first year that I said that, you know, I want to step out there and put myself first, all hell broke loose. Because, you know, you can put yourself in a situation to people, you know what I mean, where you can do so much for them, you know what I mean, where they can depend on you for so much, whether it's a little whatever like that, they don't want to see you do nothing for nobody else. See what I'm saying? And, you know, that's not me. I came here, you know, in a town, you know, people, kids, family, you know what I mean, you know, trying to get people, other kids, family, a better life than their own father or relative to begin with, you know. And, you know, I got penalized for that, you know. I'm doing something that, you know, I felt like, you know, it was needed sometimes, you know, it was a purpose. I didn't have to do that. I did it because it was a need, you know what I mean, and I wanted to do it. So, you know, we talking about love, you know what I mean, you got to watch how you go about love and how you deal with love, you know what I mean. We're not talking about relationship, you know what I mean, you know, you just talking individual people sometimes, you know. You know, when you goes into a lifetime commitment, you know what I mean, you can live with somebody all your life and never get to know them.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And you'll never get to know them. Because if anybody ever would have told me that my situation would turn out like this, you know.
Apologize. We did have another guest. You said Gio? G-O-L. Respect. So, what we're doing right now, we're just kind of going through each one of the topics. We're allowing each person to kind of share their opinion on each one of the topics. Right now, we are on love and relationships. Love and relationships.
Okay, I can't judge your time. You was finished, bro? Was you still?
Go ahead.
Just to pick up on Brother Tyrone, love is an action word. It's a verb. You can speak it all you want, and it's good, but you got to show it. I read somewhere that said love is patient, love is kind, it doesn't hold no record of wrongdoing. Love shows grace. Love, you know, forgives. Love helps. It's unconditional. There's a lot of different types of love. If you research it, the words in Hebrew, different meanings, but there's one that is unconditional. That means I don't have to do nothing to get your love. I don't have to do nothing to get somebody love. Some people are looking for something in exchange for love, but it's supposed to be genuine. It's supposed to just feel right. Like our children, you know, we're gonna love them regardless. Most people that's their child. They create that. You're gonna love that child, and you're gonna want the best for that child. And that's the breakdown of all those different types of love. Is the different types of love that we have for different people. Now, a relationship type of love. April, it'll be 15 years. Me and my wife been married, and it's a growing process. But I will say that in any relationship, whatever you choose to believe in, your higher power, that need to be in the center. They need to be in the center of any relationship that you got between. I'm a Christian, so yeah, that's it. Everything develops in between in whatever our higher power is, and it's a growth. All of us are growing and maturing, and so when two people can grow together and mature together, and it got to be open, transparent, you know. And if you've been with a person long enough, shouldn't be no lies going on. It should be straight up forward and talk to them. But and like it's saying, child support and child support enforcement, and it's like we were talking about things that have been strategically done. If we go back in history, when they first started giving our people assistance, the man couldn't be in the house. Right. So he had to be put out the house. So now we were talking about this earlier, how they make money off of everything. So now if he's not in the house, he's not be able to take care of his child. So now they're gonna make him pay. But it's not his fault. Not all times that is the man's fault. Now, if you're a man and you got a child, if you have to be a man. I believe that a man should take care of his responsibilities. Right. Now situations happen, but when they get on their feet, that's what they're supposed to do. Cause that's the love. That's the love that you're supposed to have. But like we dealing with a government that I never understood that. Like I said, I go into the jail and I do Bible study and I do a re-entry, and there's plenty of brothers in there locked up for child support. But how are they gonna pay child support if they locked up?
Right.
How are they gonna go to work if they take their driver's license?
That's right.
So all this stuff, it seems to me, Brother Tyrone, that it's strategically done to keep us in there.
Right.
Because they're making more money off us in there than they are on the books. So they giving our women, TANF, whatever that is, that little money to take care of our child while we're away. And then when we get out, we're gonna have to pay them back, and it's adding up and it's adding up. And you're getting far and far behind. And while you're away, if you don't have that love with the person that you created that child with, Lord knows what they telling your child about you.
That's right.
And then you can get to the point that you have been created, you've been painted a picture. Your child see you away and don't know the whole story.
Right.
Amen. So we got to, as women, as men, we have to do better with our children. The child didn't ask to be here. You know, it's a blessing to be here for a child, but it didn't ask to be here. So we need to do better. That's why I'm into that.
That's right. Can I piggyback on that?
Yeah.
First off, we gotta look at it, you know what I mean? Ain't no such thing as a part-time man or a woman as a parent, you know what I mean? Either you is or you are. You know what I mean? You can't be a parent when you want to be a parent, you know what I mean? When you're mad at the kid and mad at the girl, whatever, you know what I mean? You gonna do for them what you want to do for them, you know what I mean? Either you're a parent or you're not a parent, you know what I mean? One thing about a real man, you know what I mean? God, you see the men out here, they out here, you know, I see very few men out here, every time you look, they got the kid with a special son, you know what I mean? Every time you see the female with the young mans in the cars and stuff like that. You don't see the father nowhere around and stuff like that. You know, when we dealing with our kids and stuff like that, you know what I mean, they look up to us, you know what I mean. We are the closest thing that these kids see as God, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They see God through us and stuff like that. So here it is, these kids is out here, you know what I mean, this child supporting from, why do you have to force a man to take care of his kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you gotta force a man to take care of his kids? You got young men is out here, like I got this young man right here, and I'm gonna throw his name out there, Tevin. And I love this young man to death, because no matter where this young man at, his kids is well as his life.
Respect.
And this young man, he's scrambling, you know what I mean, in life, you know what I mean, but he gonna get there. You got young men out here with one kid, you know what I mean, that's in the NBA, NFL, you know what I mean, major sports and stuff like that, have kids and stuff like that, and the wife or the whoever, the young lady, got to chase them around behind money, you know, to take care of their kids and stuff like that. But they'll sit up here ride sports cars, you know what I mean, put rims on the car, you know, you put system stuff on the car, but you won't take care of your child, you know what I mean. Those type of men that I don't have respect for, you know what I mean. So when you see me out here in the world, you know what I mean, these young men and stuff that you see me dealing with, that's what I deal with, you know what I mean. Because Frederick Douglass tell you, you know what I mean, it's much easier, you know what I mean, to be a strong children than it is to repair broken men. We shouldn't have to tell a man how to be a man, you know what I mean. So, you know, I see these young men out here in the world, you know, that's what I do, you know. I reach my hand out, you know, I try to help them navigate, you know what I mean, out here in the world, you know what I mean, because I know the issues out here, you know what I mean, as far as father figure, because, you know, I went through the same thing. So, you know, I know what these kids gonna say and do before they say it and do. I am these kids, something like that. So, you know, what I do, you know, it's a purpose, you know what I mean, it's much needed. It's a love, you know what I mean, it's an asset. Anything that you can give back to your community, whether financial, spiritual, you know what I mean, whatever it is, long as it's positive, you know what I mean. All I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I just wish there were many more like that do the same.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna chime in, then I'm gonna let you speak on that topic as well. All right? So I'm gonna say about this, like for myself, child support. I think child support is one of the toughest crutches that most people don't understand. Is just paperwork. I got custody of my daughter when she was 12 years old, and her mom had 9 kids. They told me it would never be possible for a man to take that child out of the mother's home. Once I went through the process, I was still paying child support for my daughter until she turned 16. That's when I learned it is only paperwork. If a man and a woman can come together to have a child, a man and woman can sit down and have a conversation of how we're going to deal with the child. Most kids right now are hurt because of the mother, father not getting along, and the child is not being able to build a relationship with both of their parents. So I know with my daughter, it was a tough thing I went through because it was just tough. But, Brother Gio,
I don't feel like I deserve to be at this table, brothers. I'll just give a quick introduction on GLLL. I'm active duty military, and for love and relationships, transport, and transport force we're talking about, I'm not gonna lie, I'm going through it right now. I'm going through two scenarios of that. I am going through my second divorce currently, and with both mothers, it's like they just completely forgot who you are. I take pride in being a father. And believe it or not, I'm 27 years old.
respect.
And the thing that I've seen and what I'm experiencing, what I'm noticing in most households nowadays is that the man is being shunned out when the mother doesn't get what they want from the man.
Right.
Now, I'm not gonna put it all on the woman because it takes two to tango. We all heard those things. Sorry.
Yeah.
And like I said, with my experience now currently, I'm still learning. I'm still a sponge. I'm trying to, navigate on how to be a father to my children, even though they're basically 2 states or a state away. Heck, I was trying to get my daughter tomorrow, and lo and behold, something came up because there's no paperwork set up for that. That's one thing I would agree as far as the court system, as far as getting something set in stone or set in black and white. That way they need to do what they need to do, but at the same time too, for like most brothers, even the ones that's trying to be in the child's life, it's just like you gotta fight through tooth and nail. Most brothers don't want to go through that, which is why, we typically get like, the single motherhood and whatnot. So I refuse to be discouraged because I created 2 beings here on this plane made manifest, and I shall know, I shall make sure they know who their father are, who their father is. So, I got 2 brothers actually coming here, actually invited me, here, Brother Trayon and Brother Reginald, they're on the way here. Those 2 gentlemen have, I tell you, iron sharp as iron, like, those 2 have kept me up and kept me from doubting myself because I grew up always depending on other people's choices as far as what I should do, what makes sense and whatnot. But to stay on topic, I'm not talking about me.
No, respect. You good.
Concerning the child support, like, I believe that the court system should not be involved, and they are. I said, Brother trying to be able to break it down even more because it's illegal.
Right.
It's very much so illegal. I wish I knew more, I'd be able to break it down, but I believe that when you create something together, you should be able to, navigate and be able to raise your child together and co-parent, regardless of what you got going on. Okay, cool, you don't want to be with me anymore, but hey, you still have a child to take care of. So we have to, stay parents and, make sure we're not perpetrating this lifestyle that is obviously a thing in our community, especially in our community, I believe we just gotta keep fighting the good fight and, let them know, let people know that, hey, we're trying to better ourselves, and especially as fathers, like, we have to set the example for our sons, for their sons and their sons.
That's right.
So just to stop the cycle. We have to stop the cycle.
Yes, sir.
Generational curse, exactly, that's what I'm saying, generational curse, because it starts, with those before us, but then, if we don't know, we're just ignorant to what we're just used to and need to just get, comfortable with that. I'm done being comfortable, especially when it comes to my kids. I would rather be uncomfortable. Heck, I'm working on that right after this too, so I'm gonna get that paperwork, trust me.
Respect that.
So, yeah.
We should work on that as well, man.
Thank you, brother.
Keep striving, man. How old are your kids?
I have a 10-month-old and I have a 4-month-old.
Wow, respect.
Boy and girl.
What a girl.
I wanted to piggyback on my brother. He said, and Tyrone mentioned it too. He said being an example. And a lot of us as men, we didn't grow up and see a model of what a man looked like in our homes. But we don't have to, like you said, just because we didn't see it, that don't mean that we don't have to research it or find somebody. It's, just because it wasn't in the home, it's one out there somewhere that we can model after and do the research. So, like you said, the buck stopped here. So it won't continue to go on. That's why I spoke about before you came, the generational curses, and that is another generational curse that that hinders our community is because my father wasn't there, I'm not going to be there. And you would think if you grew up without a father that you wanted to be there for yours, but it's something about, it's the same thing about, it's a lot of things that it bothers me, and I think about it. If I grew up and I seen somebody, not judging, but they are having a substance abuse problem, and you seen what they have done to somebody, and I grew up and I do the same thing, it's something that's in there, it's generational. But you shouldn't want to see that same thing, because I'm scared now, if I picked it up, my child gonna pick it up. So we ought to be doing our best not to fall into that same. And like we've been said again, it's strategic in some cases. They want us to be like that. They want it to happen because the less of us they have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do better with stepping up and breaking the curses. And if you don't see a model, go find a model. Find a model. Like the brother said, he's doing his best. And keep on, brother. I salute you for that. Yeah. Don't give up. Keep the fight.
Respect. All right, we're gonna go to the next topic. Prison. It's almost like school to prison pipeline they have created. Especially in these areas that we're from, Brunswick, Greensville County. We're surrounded by prisons in every direction.
Yeah.
And not a lot of opportunity for the young men to even know the difference. One of the things I say about learning how to drive in a little place like this, if mom and dad is scared to drive, that's gonna make the kid learning how to drive scared to death as well. So it's almost like you make one mistake nowadays, you can end up in the wrong place. So I think my brother that I have learned the most from, and definitely has the experience and knowledge and the wisdom to know how to help people that's keeping people out of the system for one, and to actually
keep myself out there.
Yeah. But one mistake can end you up in the wrong place. So we got to start thinking. We grew up. We used to have a little angel and a devil on our shoulder that made us think. We're in a world now where the young folks do not think; they act first, and then they realize they shouldn't have done it. So I'm gonna let the brothers speak about, because it has to affect everybody in the building. The prisons is a major part, especially of the black men from the community. It's a trap, and sometimes after you get in that trap, it's hard to get out. But Brother Tyrone, Brother Lee, either one of y'all like to speak on the topic of the prison system?
Man, all right, as far as this prison system now, man, we got to know what's really going on around us. Could I speak bluntly, or could I speak bluntly?
Bluntly, yes. Honestly, yes. Raw.
First of all, we looking at the prison system now, man. We got to look at what's going on around here, you know what I mean? We got to put ourselves, you know what I mean? Facts, you know what I mean? We got to look at where we at. We sitting on a plantation around here. That's where we at. We got 95 North, 95 South. You got 58 East, you got 58 West. You got Atlanta East, you got Atlanta West. You got Main Street North, you got Main Street South. You got 301 North, you got 301 South. And what the hell all of them got in common? At one time or another, you had cotton field and all of them. If that's not a plantation, then what is it? Here it is, every main U.S. highway that's here in this town, you got a cotton field. We on a plantation. Then you got to wonder, why are you on a plantation? Let me tell you why you're on a plantation. You look at Petersburg, you look at Emporia, you look at Brunswick, you look at Southampton. They are the fourth poorest city in the state of Virginia per capita. And what they all got in common? All of them got a prison sitting right in the smack of it. See, right now, what we looking at right now, prison is the new slavery. It's the new form of slavery. See, they ain't picking cotton no more, they picking black men. See, out here, you nothing out here. But in there, you worth $35,000 a year. I don't care who you is. How many young black men out here make $35,000 a year? And see, that's where we at right here with the educational system. They tell you, you know what I mean, how you create this and how you create that. You give them the poorest education and everything else to go with it. You got to learn everything that goes on around here, you know what I mean. It's engineering and design. This is not your fault, you know what I mean, what goes on around here. This is not no coincidence, you know what I mean, that this happened. This stuff is engineered and designed. Everything that goes on around here. It's designed around here to keep you broke. It's designed around here, you know what I mean, to keep you in the system, to keep the kids in the system. Everything that's going on around here is engineered and designed. For whatever reason you feel like, you know what I mean, that this is your fault, this is like your fault. This is a part of the slavery, you know what I mean, mentality that trickled down, you know what I mean, on the way of life is down here, whether you want to believe it or not. Here it is, right, 15 minutes up the road, here it is, you got, you know what I mean, Southampton. Ain't that where they slaying that Turner at? 15 miles down the road?
That's right.
They got a road up there named after that Turner, called Turner Road.
Mm-hmm.
They also got a road up there called Barham Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read that book of Turner, this same young lady, that white woman, said that she took his hat and made a pocketbook out of it. Said that. So this is just 15 minutes up the road. So you don't think the slave trade trickled right on down here through here? It has.
Yeah.
More than you can imagine. So everything that's going on right now with you is not your fault. You sick and you don't know you sick, you know what I'm saying? But the bad thing about it, you know what I mean, I got a love for people who don't have a love for me back. But you know, God will take care of that too. Next man, you go on.
Amen. I've heard it said that they start looking at this from our test scores in school and start sizing people up. And like you said, it's a cash it's a money maker. They didn't even start charging the inmates to stay at the jail. When you get out, you got your old bill. So this what it is the prison system is meant to cause a revolving door, because it's supposed to be correction, but they're not correcting you in a lot of areas. I know I do a re-entry at the regional jail, and the statewide, you have to go through re-entry. You have to go through some certain things. That we were speaking on generational curses.
Right.
You can find families, the father, the brother, the uncle, all of them incarcerated, and the son grow up and his dad, he's going to visit his dad in between the glass wall, and you want the best for your son, but somehow a child seeing their father like that, you wouldn't think he wanted to find himself in that same situation, but somehow he finds himself in that same situation. And that's why I say I believe it's strategically done, and I believe that we, like with everything I have said, we got to put a stop to the generational curses that you spoke about. There's no coincidence that we're surrounded by correction facilities, prisons all around us, and cotton fields all around us. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I got on that. Yeah,
Appreciate you, good evening, trying on how they, see that, we're speaking upon, prison system. Everybody's right. There's a million answers and we all could be right when it comes to that system, because you got so many different minds that are demonic and they got their evil motives for how they wanna make their money or make their bread, because as everybody knows, this is not America's a country, United States is a corporation. Corporation is business. That's why this man that we have in office is back in office, because he knows how to run a business. And that's exactly what this corporation is. It's a business. And that's how he's gonna run it. It's not a country. The prison pipeline is a business. As if you notice, throughout the country, they're making homelessness illegal. So what's gonna happen? These people are gonna go to jail. And a lot of these prison systems is privatized. So they gotta keep them 90% filled. They don't keep them 90% filled, taxpayers get hit. A heavy tax, because it's an agreement, 5, 10 years, 20 years, whatever they have, it's an agreement. It's a business. Everybody has their hand on that business. You see what I'm saying? Even your local politicians, they do, but it looks like they're preventing crime, but they playing with the numbers when they reporting to these agents.
We feel them.
And we film them. You see what I'm saying? And it could be one crime, but with statistics, like say 8 people rob one person, that's one crime. But with statistics that make it look like 8 people robbed and be 8 crimes. You get what I'm saying? So this is how they get their funding, because they trick the numbers. You know, so that's one way, and I forget which gentleman just stay on it real quick about, you know, generational curse. For me personally, generational curse stopped when it came to me. You know what I mean? So well that's done. So anything coming behind me, the curse is broke. You know, so you know the system. Everybody says it's broke. No, it's working fine. This is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you know, social service, child support captivates the mother. The school system captivates the children. Prison captivates the father. That's the separation right there. You see what I'm saying? So the system is working pretty good. I mean, I don't want to get too deep. We can sit here all night though, but I just basically want to expound upon, you know, what it is.
Express yourself, bro. You know what I mean? Express yourself. Yeah, like what man said, like prison and all this stuff that we got going on out here in the world and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know, and we are talking now. We talking about prison. We talking, they ain't talking when we had prison, they ain't been in prison nobody but for the blacks, you know what I mean? You know, all this, you know, mix in, throw a few in like that, you know what I mean? You know, we already know that it's just agenda.
They found another way how to legally enslave us.
So, you know, it's up to us, you know what I mean? You know, that's why we, right now with the School Hard Knock for Life Foundation, we try to catch them right now, catch them as young as 5 years old sometimes. So when you get the kids now, these days, you know what I mean, at 5 and 6, they not 5 and 6, they like 8 and 9.
They're teaching the gender right. There's no way a kid should be learning about sex at 5 years old. That's their gender to push.
So now the ones at 8 and 9, they like teenagers.
That's right.
Then you got the ones at 13, they think they're grown sometimes.
That's right.
Because this is social media, you know what I mean, everything, the information they got together. What we failed these kids is right now, you know what I mean, you know, our responsibility as the new generation before like that. These kids coming out these days, you know what I mean, they want our time, they want our attention, you know what I mean? But what we do, we give them phones and tablets, you know what I mean, to substitute, you know what I mean, for what they really want and for what they really need. They don't want these phones and tablets. We want them to have these phones and tablets, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't have the real time and, you know, unconditional love to give them. So we give them milk just like a child, you know what I mean, with that bottle of milk. The child no longer have no more milk in that bottle. What you give them? You give them a pacifier. That's a substitute, you know what I mean, to tell you, you know, you do well or do better. That's the same thing we give to our kids, these tablets and these phones. They are substitute for the time they really want sometimes. So this is how we are raising our kids. So if you got your kid right here on a phone or a tablet or social media, your child spending more time with social media than you, then that's who raising your kid. So that's what was going on out here in the world, you know what I mean? The parents wonder where they went wrong. You went wrong because you're not a parent. That's where you went wrong. You started out, like I said, there's no such thing as a part-time parent sometimes. You got these kids out here right now today, you know what I mean? They don't know what road to take, so they don't want to get them there sometimes. They're trying to navigate themselves through life sometimes. And the reason why they are doing that, because so many of these kids out here, so many people have failed them. Inside the household, the school system, and anywhere else sometimes. So now you come out here, you try to talk to these kids and stuff like that, and then people, they wonder why kids not listening. Oh, these kids are listening, but they ain't listening to what you think they listen to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You can't fool the kids out here these days, sometimes, right? The kids are more advanced than the parents out here, you know what I mean? We sit out here with these kids, and we feel like, you know what I mean, it's the kid's fault, you know what I mean? They doing this, they doing that. Just like when Bush passed that law in 2008, when No Child Left Behind, and you go from 2008 to 24 right here, you got a 17-year gap sometimes. That's what you got right now from grade school right now to the high school. That's what you're dealing with. Them No Child Left Behind. So if they not getting the proper education, they not getting nothing sometimes. Because education is the key to life sometimes. See, everybody else out here, what they doing with the kids, they entertaining the kids sometimes. Basketball, football, or tennis, boxing, you know what I mean? Them kids don't need that. That's entertainment, you know what I mean? That's what we know for entertainment. You want to find blacks, you know what I mean? The only time we come together is for a party, or picnic, or a funeral sometimes. Our kids don't need to be entertained. They need to be serviced. They need to be groomed. They need to be molded, you know what I'm saying? Know how to put proper hygiene on. How to use proper hygiene. The proper clothes to wear. How to comb their hair. How to brush their hair. You know what I mean? How to wash themselves. That's what these kids need, you know what I mean? These kids need service. You know what I mean? They out here, you know what I mean, trying to navigate themselves through